Oh, there's me. I had a lovely little piece of audio, and I've not even opened it up. Never mind, I'll play it after we've spoken. On the line, I've got Ken Humphries. He's the author of JesusNeverExisted.com. A very interesting guest last time we were in. As I said earlier, I think his basic principle is he's dealing with Jesus the man as a historical human being. He doesn't necessarily dispute God or religion. He seems to have moved on now to Saul, who was seen as the founder of the Christian faith. He lived around 5 to 67 A.D., and you may remember the story from school. On the road to Damascus, he had a vision, he saw Jesus, and he regained his sight, and from then on became pretty much the founder of the Christian faith. I hope on the line I have Ken. Are you there, Ken?
I certainly am.
I hope that was a reasonable summary. I do have a little bit of audio that we can play to remind people of the story. It's certainly something that I remember from school, which was, maybe you could tell us the official version of that story.
Okay, that's a good place to begin. I mean, I often find when I talk about St. Paul, I have to introduce him because a lot of people actually sort of scratch their head a little bit and they're not too sure. The official story of St. Paul is that he enters the story as a persecutor of the church. He's a hot-headed Jewish zealot, and he's really got it in for the Christians, and yet he has this experience as he's pursuing them on the road to Damascus. He gets a sort of light and around him. He hears the voice of Jesus, and as a result of that, he's blinded. He then has a conversion. He becomes not just a Christian, but the leading Christian. He mixes or joins up with the disciples, but very much takes over the show, because much of the story then is about his missionary journeys, and he spreads the faith and founds churches and basically writes the whole body of theology on which Christianity grows. So that is the official story. So he's a very key figure, very important figure.
Okay, I've got. Let me just play this little bit of audio that I've got for you here, because this is a section from what we might call the official version. This is Saul, who's pretty much a bad guy at the moment. He's heading towards Damascus, and he's chasing the Christians because he doesn't really like them. And he has this vision, and then later on he gets his sight back. We'll just see how this sounds.
St. Paul is an interesting character, and on the one hand, it might look, and I initially thought this, that there was actually a good body of evidence that might support this character in some form or other. Now, we have two sources of information, and one of those two sources is writings, the letters or epistles of St. Paul, a huge chunk of material, about 44,000 words to be precise, which makes up about a third of the New Testament. So there's his own testimony, and then there's the story of St. Paul, which we find in the book of Acts. So two sources. Now that's really quite encouraging in terms of trying to establish an historical character. For example, this classic thing that you just played, the experience on the road to Damascus, you don't actually find that in the letters of St. Paul. I mean, he actually says he had God revealed his son to him in a revelation, but there's no drama such as you find in the book of Acts.
And
indeed,
is there any evidence of him writing before any of this conversion happened? Does he exist in history before that, even as a writer?
I have to say, Paul doesn't exist in history at all, right? But in terms of before he was a Christian, there is an absolute blank there. And even apologists write sometimes how regrettable it is we don't have a letter from Paul when he was still this hot-headed Jew called Saul. A letter sort of cursing the Christians and saying, I'm off to get them now. There is no such letter.
Now, there's something I've learned quite recently. I don't know whether you're aware of this, the work that went on at the alleged tomb of St. Paul, where the Pope allowed a probe to be actually put into the tomb, June 2009, so it's pretty recent. The probe revealed incense, purple linen and bone that carbon dated back to the 1st and 2nd century, and the Church are taking that pretty much as evidence, scientific evidence, that within that grave as such is St. Paul.
Well, To those who wish to believe, such beliefs come readily, don't they? That is anything conducted under the auspices of the Vatican. We have to, question just a tad, really. I mean, look at the whole farrago that surrounds the Shroud of Turin. I remember just after the Second World War, the discovery of the supposed bones of St. Peter, but, as far as we can tell from leaked information, it is not really the bones of St. Peter, it's the bones of 2 or 3 different people mixed in with chicken bones and pig bones. So, and why is it surprising that you find bones under the Vatican? Well, because it was built on a pagan cemetery. So, I really, specifically on the St. Paul's bones, I'd merely personally, I'd have to see some hard scientific evidence of that.
Yeah, okay. Well, all right, Ken, it's fantastic talking to you, as usual. Really interesting, and it's probably worth another 2 hours of the show. It's such a deep subject, but there's loads of stuff on your website, JesusNeverExisted.com. People can go there. Have you ever likened yourself to Saul as a persecutor of the Christian faith?
I conform to that image. Yeah, I conform to that image.
Perhaps a vision awaits you. Perhaps a vision awaits you. Who knows? Ken, thanks very much for your time. Great talking to you. Have a great Christmas.
And you, Mike. Take
Cheers.
care.
Bye bye now.
Best of the season. Bye bye now.
There you go. Always really interesting talking to Ken. JesusNeverExisted.com. All the stuff's on the website. We will have that on our blog very, very soon. Coming up very, very soon, our special guest, Matonia, in the second hour. Oh, and brand new Bradshaws.